Today we are starting our walk at the pretty village of Conistone. We'll be going through the village, up Conistone Dib and emerging onto the track at the top. We'll then climb up to Capplestonegate to sit at the ordinance survey point, which has got tremendous views. From Capplestonegate we'll be going across the fell top towards Kettlewell. After a mile or two we will then drop down to the valley and pick up the Dalesway. We'll go along the Dalesway to Conistone Pie. From Conistone Pie there are exceptional views up Wharfedale and Litondale. We'll then head back to the village here and have a look in the village church. Right, let's make a start. Here we are at Conistone and we head up to the Dib, which is just up this little track. Very pretty little cottages here, and we can see the Dib rising up ahead of us. Right, here we are approaching the gate which leads us onto the Conistone Dib. Through the gate and upwards. From here on we'll be climbing up the gully, which is the Dib. And I can fasten this gate. Let's have a look. Here we are. Right. There we go. Up this gully. It can be a little bit of a scramble, but not too bad. Public footpath. And here we are. This is a start. One or two little scrambles over rocks, and we'll come out the other side onto a less enclosed area. But first we need to get over here without slipping. Right, we've made the first bit. Now the next bit. There we go. Right. We can see now the Dib is beginning to narrow as we approach. Quite rocky, so got to watch your step a little. But there we are, approaching the narrow bit. I guess at some time there must have been a river or a stream come down here and cut its way through the rocks. You can see it gets narrower and narrower as we go further up the dib. And it's becoming rockier as it gets narrower. Just coming around another bend, and we come to what I think is the narrowest part at the moment anyway. And you can see here where the stream has come down and cut away the rocks. Right, let's navigate this carefully. Very narrow, and there's another bit of a climb to do here, and then we come out into what seems to be the open area. Right, nearly made it. Here we are, coming out into a more open area. Right, we've left the stones behind and we're out in a grassy area now, which is a lot easier, and we're heading straight up this valley, eventually going to climb out the other side. The enclosed valley has opened up now a little and the going is a lot easier than it was on those stones, and we're going to head further up the valley, and you can perhaps see what the valley does is the further you go along it, the more enclosed it becomes again. This path that we're coming to on the right hand side goes to Grasswood and on to Grassington, but we're taking the path straight ahead up the dib, climbing out the end of the dib and then climbing up to Capplestonegate. Right, another gate to traverse, and once we're through here the valley begins to narrow considerably. Very quiet today again, as usual. You don't see a lot of people here at all. We're beginning to climb a little now, and as we do so the valley narrows and we're back with the scree. It doesn't make it any easier, but that's what we've come for, as an experience and, shall I say, a pleasure. And I think from here we can see a bit of the climb that we're going to take up that cliff face there. Right, well, onwards and upwards. Right, some stones in our path, but it looks though we can skirt around those, and we're heading for that middle tree there. We have to go around that, so let's make a start. Climbing the path. In the wet, these stones can be very slippery, but today is a dry day, so in luck. I have come up here in the rain and mist, and you have to take great care on these shiny stones. We're approaching the middle tree now, and just beyond it, I don't know if the camera can catch it, is a little gate and a climb up the hillside, or up the side of the rocks. Now this tree is across the path, so we have to go around it, and it can be slippery, but we're getting there, slowly but surely, holding on to rocks and onto trees. And here we are, coming up to the gate and a little climb out. When I get to the gate, that is, over these stones. Quite a puffing climb, is that? Here's the gate, and there's the little climb up and out. We have some sheep come to visit us there. They look as though they're more agile than me, and that's where we've come from, way down there. Right, let's tackle this gate and climb. So that's the gate. Successfully manoeuvred, and we'll have a look now at the climb ahead of us. Let's have a look, and here it is. So I think what we'll do is we'll get a little bit nearer, and then we'll throw the sticks over the top, because they're a little bit of a hamper, or they hamper you when you're climbing. Right, one stick. Right. That was good. Fell down. Two sticks. Right. Not good. But let's have a look now and see where we are. And Not bad at all. Throw the sticks where they ought to have been and climb out over the top. Made it. And that's where we've come from. Down there. And we're going to sit over here now and have a coffee break. Now, today is going to be a hot day, so I haven't brought coffee. I've actually brought cold juice, so I think that might be a good move, hopefully. Coffee break over. We're going to head through that gate, over that little bridge there, and then up the track to the top there, and then turn right, which takes us after a while to Capplestone Gate. Through the gate. And turn left along this little track. If we turned right up here, we would go to Grassington eventually. You can see that's the valley that we've just come up, and we've just climbed up this little cliffside here. Right, we're going through this gate, past those sheep, and up to the next gate when we turn right and climb up the fell, which is over there. Now, will these sheep stay here, or will they do a run? They might stay because they're sort of trapped in the little area here. They've got themselves in here. I don't know how they're going to get out unless there's a little track. What I might do is open the gate ahead and shoo them through it, because somehow they've got it in here, which isn't ideal, I would say. Now, have they come from there though? I don't know. I'll open it up anyway, because they are trapped, aren't they? I wonder if I should open it up there and let them go there. I think I should, shouldn't I? That's maybe what I'll do. Right, I have opened the gate at the bottom there. I think that's where they've come from, I guess. So I'm going to chase them down now. Go on, no, you're going the wrong way, go on. What are you coming over here for? I'm trying to chase you out the gate. No, oh, they've gone through. Oh, that's how they've got there. Oh well, they've made it. Right, I'll shut the gate now. Right, now that that little bit of interesting rounding up is over, we'll go through this gate and turn right up the fell. You can see from the signpost that we're crossing the Dalesway here, or this path is the Dalesway. Grassington 2.5 mile left, Kettlewell 3 miles right. And we're going to Sandygate, it says. And Conistone, of course, is where we've come from to the right. So up we go, Sandygate. We're going up that fell there onto the fell top at Capplestonegate Ordnance Survey Point. This is the track we're taking for a short while, and we're going to cut across to those trees over there and then up the hillside from there. So we've got a bit of a climb ahead of us, but very enjoyable. This is the gate that we go through, and the trees there that we turn right up the side. The signpost says that to the right is Middleston Moor, to the left is Capplestone Gate, and that's where we're heading. So let's tackle this gate. Oops. It's an old one, this, so maybe they'll be replacing that soon. It's one of those you have to pick up to get it in the slot. There we are. Sheep there, they're wondering what I'm up to. But there we are, we're heading across to those trees. Well, here we are, up the woods. A sign, but it only says public footpath. But we know the way. That's where we're going. From here on, until we get to the top of the fell, it's climbing all the way. So we've got a bit of a climb ahead of us. But if we take it easy, we'll be fine. We've made some headway now, but the path, as you might be able to see, gets ever steeper up to the top of this hillside, at which point you think, I'm there, only to realise there's another hillside to climb beyond that. But take our time, this is what we've come for. This old dry stone wall looks though it's taken a bit of a battering over the years. I don't know how old it will be, but it looks the worse for wear, unfortunately. Well, we're heading onwards to the top of the first hillside. The view is getting better. A long distance view, very nice indeed. You can see where we've come, Conistone Dib is that escarpment there, the limestone escarpment, and the sun's coming out, which I was hoping it wouldn't until we got up to Capplestonegate, because a steep climb in the sun and we will get very hot. We've reached the top of the first hillside, and now I can see the ordnance survey marker at Capplestonegate. So we've just to go up there now, and we're at our destination for the moment. The odd sinkhole here, it looks like a cave too, because they've covered it over with a metal sheet, so that might be a cave. I have to have a look at the map when I get up to Capplestonegate and see what it says, but doesn't look all that safe. Right, here we go then. One more climb, and here we are at the ordnance survey post at Capplestonegate. Bit of a climb, but I'm always pleased when I've got here, because from here onwards it is either a level ground, downhill, or a gentle slope. We're leaving Capplestonegate and heading across the fell top towards Kettlewell. And we get onto the fell top via this gate. And the sign here says Kettlewell. Doesn't give any distance, but I think it's about 3 miles. We won't be going all the way there. We'll cut off after about a mile and a half towards the valley below, and then we'll take a left turn when we reach the valley and walk along the Dalesway to Conistone Pie. The path along the fell top here can be obscure, especially when we get to the mine workings, but it's marked by these yellow marking sticks. Coming up to the signpost now, it should say Kettlewell. And the sun is out nicely now, just in time. Yes, there it is. It says Conistone, where we've come from, public footpath across the fell, and public footpath to Kettlewell, which is the one we'll take. So here we go, skirting these sinkholes. And we're going to head for that stile in the wall. We could have carried straight on there and down that hillside further on, because we're going to cut down into the valley soon, but this style's easier. We can see the signpost there where we've just come from, across these mine workings here, and we're going to either go through the gate or climb over the stile. If the gate's open, we'll go through the gate. That's the easiest option. The gate's open, so we don't have to climb over the stile. Nice and easy, other than manoeuvring the hook back. Right, so we cut across here now, and we meet the path that comes down that hillside where we could have gone along there. We meet the path coming down and we go down into the valley. Carrying on the path to that wall, and we go, I can't remember if it's a stile or a gate, but we go either over a stile or through a gate, after which we keep our eyes open for the path going down into the valley. If we miss it and stay on this path, then we end up at Kettlewell, which we don't want, I don't think. It turns out to be a stile. I couldn't remember. Now, when we get up here, we'll see where we would have come down if we'd have taken the other path, and we would have come across that hillside, through that gate, and down this hillside here. But we didn't choose that option. Down the stile. Now, this is the point where we've to keep our eyes open for the path coming in from our right. If we miss that, as I said earlier, we'll end up at Kettlewell rather than go down into the valley here. And this is the path coming up now. Not too obvious, but this is it. That is the path to Kettlewell, and this is the path we want to go down into the valley. More sheep, look very healthy. All this open land and lots of food. Another dry stone wall that's not done well over time. We've come about a half mile down the hillside now, and we're carrying on going down into the valley until we meet the Dalesway. Right, we've gone another quarter mile and we just passed through this gate and we're heading towards the bottom of this wood, and at the bottom we meet the Dalesway. Another stiff gate. Right, so down here. Now we could go straight down this track and join the woods down there at the bottom, or we can cut down here and join them there. The track curves round, so this is the easiest route. From here we've got some lovely views of Wharfedale, but the better view is from the top of Conistone Pie, where we'll be in about an hour's time. But from here it's quite spectacular. Over the hillside there is Littondale, and when we did the Cray Walk a few days ago, we were on that hillside at the other side of Wharfedale. So a lovely area. And that ahead is our path, the Dalesway. Now we haven't seen many people so far, but the Dalesway is much more popular, so we might meet one or two other people coming along there. The Dalesway runs from Ilkley in Yorkshire to Windermere in the Lake District, and it's 86 miles long. We are currently on the Grassington to Kettlewell stretch. And here we go. We can't see Conistone Pie yet, but it's called Conistone Pie because it's a mound of rocks that's in the shape of a pork pie. Oh, we can see it. It's just appearing over the hill here. We'll have a look in a moment. There it is, straight in front, that black shape on the little hilltop that's in the shape of a pork pie. It'll be more obvious when we get nearer. But it's a lovely spot, is this. The River Wharfe down there that we saw when we were at Cray and the other day. Very nice. Across the way there is Kilnsey Crag, those rocks, and that path goes up over the top to Malham. It's an old monk's trail. There we are, Conistone Pie, getting nearer and nearer. So once we're over this wall through the gate, we've not too far to go then. Oh, they put strong springs on these gates. Right. Suppose you have to keep them shut tight in the gales. Well, there we are, Conistone Pie. So we'll go up to it and have lunch in its shelter, hopefully. This is our turn off to the Pie. Short pull up there, but quite steep. Nearly there. This is it then. Conistone Pie. Now, if I turn around now, this has got to be the best view in Wharfedale. That's Wharfedale. That's Littondale. And when we were at Cray the other day, that hillside that goes across the other end of Wharfedale there is where we were walking across. Really, really beautiful. What a glorious place to have lunch. And on the menu today we've got salad with a chicken drumstick. Not bad. Very, very nice. Okay, lunchtime over, and we have to leave this magnificent view and head back down to Conistone. The path is in front of us there. So let's go. Let's check that we've got everything from there. Yes, nothing left. There we go. Want to do sheep here, grazing as usual. So we're heading for that stile to the left of the gate. It's a stile and a gate, I suppose, combined. Always awkward, these. Bit like to climb up. Strong spring. Oops. Right. Right. So onwards and down to Conistone. To the point where we came up from Conistone Dib this morning, and we then turned right, which is the path ahead. And if we were going to redo our walk again, we would turn left here, but we're going down into Conistone, so we'll turn right. If we went straight across, we would go either to Grassington, or we could go down the dib again, climbing down rather than climbing up. But I don't think we'll do that. I think we'll take the right hand path and go down to Conistone on the track. This is the track down to Conistone through this gate, and perhaps half a mile down the track here where we come to Conistone and the church that we'll have a look in and have a look around the graveyard and so on. And if we've time, we might take a diversion in the car and go to the Trout Lake at Kilnsey. Straight ahead there is Kilnsey Crag, and those houses to the left, that cream house, that's a pub, and near there is the Trout Lake, so we'll go and have a visit there after we've seen the church at Conistone. Right, we're coming into Conistone now. We've come down the track and just joined this little road for a yard or two, and we've come to the church, and it's the Church of St Mary of Conistone. So we'll have a look at this. Very nice too. Nice old church. Oh, they've cut some trees down since I was here last. Well, let's have a look inside. If it's open. It is. Another lovely church. Pulpit, and a very heavy looking Bible stand here, or prayer stand. Very nice. The pews of the church were carved by Thompson of Kilburn, and he left his trademark, which is the carved mouse, which I don't know if you can see, it's just there. Some parts of the church are thought to date back to Norman times. The arch, the font, and I think the arch in the doorway. We'll head on back to the car and take off our boots, and then we might have a sit on the bench by the maypole and have a drink. Although there's a very pleasant bench there. Anyway, here we go. Coming back into the pretty little village now. That's where we started this morning. And here is the maypole. And a nice bench, so we'll take off our boots and come and have a sit and a drink. ahead of us is Kilnsey Crag, and this is the Trout Lake at Kilnsey.